Welcome back, everybody.
Welcome back. Look at that money.
We got a loan.
a big loan. Actually, I don't even know which panel that is that you look at.
All right, I'm gonna sell this thing. This boy is being sold.
Where's our loan amount at? I don't even know.
It's in the. It shows it on the page that shows us all how much money we have. Oh no! I tabbed away. I wanted to see it appear. I'm a fucking moron. All right.
Oh, here we go. Loan. $300,000 loan is what we got going on right now. And it was all to purchase something. And it
money's all gone.
The money is all gone.
Oh, this bitch is big.
Here, get out of it for a second. I'm going to tab over there just to show the people. Oh, my goodness.
I'm ready.
This is... I got to jump in for a second. What's the in-cab view?
V, I think.
No.
No, wait, that's a different game.
There we go. C. Oh, my God. Look at this wraparound window. Oh, it's got a little control screen.
Does it?
Yeah. Wait, does it... Oh, it shows me my speed and stuff. That's awesome.
Wait, I can enter it. It says I can enter it. Oh, I guess I can't, though, because you're in it. I thought maybe like there was something that I could do, too. Oh, yeah, look at that. Electronic controls.
Man.
What a thing.
The roof. It looks like I can do something back here almost, but there's like steps and stuff to get to the very top. Whoa, he drove away. Yeah,
oh, it's so much faster? It's double the speed, yeah.
Oh, this is going to be a fantastic. Where's the header at?
It's back at home.
It didn't sell with it on accident, did it?
No, I took it off.
Okay.
Make sure that we didn't mess up.
We sold that old combine because we found out that's the thing that's been costing us the ridiculous amount of money. And so now we got this bigger one, and hopefully it will make this way better. I'm going to wash this while I'm waiting for you. So, I'm trying to think of how to ask this question. Have you ever done something on the road that was misinterpreted?
What?
I know it's a very strange question, but so the other day I was driving. And I was driving out of my hospital and getting onto an entrance ramp to, not an expressway, but it's just the way that the roads work. There's kind of an entrance ramp to another major road, but it's not an expressway. Just very strange, busy town. But I know for a fact, because I've driven on this multiple times, that up around the corner, as you're going onto this entrance ramp, there is a... Oh my God, this thing is lagging. What is lagging right now?
I'm not experiencing this.
There it goes. Oh, my tractor's in like slow motion mode right now. It's really weird. Oh my God, I'm jittery. I'm dancing. That's really strange. But right around the corner, there's like this very ill-placed crosswalk across the entrance ramp. So the sidewalk kind of goes on the main road and then turns up the entrance ramp, and around the corner cuts across. There's a crosswalk to get across to the street to the other side of the sidewalk. And I happened to see a guy on a bike driving on the sidewalk and knew that I was about to get in the point where he was going to be crossing the crosswalk as I was going to where the crosswalk was. So I slowed down. I made eye contact with the guy. He kind of looked at me and like waved back, knowing that I made eye contact, and started to proceed across the crosswalk. The guy behind me starts beeping his horn ridiculously at me because he's pissed off because I stopped to let this guy across the crosswalk. And I started to drive. I looked back in my rear view and I could see him like getting all pissed, like his fists were up in the air and he's beeping on the horn and, like, throwing his fist. Oh, he was angry. He was very angry. And it's funny because it only took like 5 seconds and he was the only other car. It's not like there was a huge lineup of cars that I was, making all this stuff happen to. So I'm feeling like, I'm a courteous driver. I'm letting this guy go across the road because otherwise he, would, I don't know, like, if I didn't know how many cars were behind me, if he would have had to wait a long time, it's dangerous. At least I've made eye contact with him. He knows I've made eye contact with him. So it's like a safe time to cross the street.
Yeah.
So I start to drive And this guy is still pissed off behind me, like beeping his horn, even though we're now driving. So I like slowed down, and my window was open, and because it's the way the road turned, I could kind of see more into his car out the side, and I just yelled. I was like, "Slow down! It's a crosswalk, for God's sakes!" But what I didn't realize that the way I yelled that, I looked over to the side of me. The biker is now only a couple feet off of the crosswalk, who you can tell by his face that after making this eye contact and like all this stuff, now he thinks I'm yelling at him about crossing the crosswalk.
Don't cross so fast!
I'm like, do I sit here and try to explain? No, not you, the car behind you. And I was just like, kind of hang the head in shame and like drive because I've now done this nice thing. Yet I made this guy who I did this nice thing for now think I'm screaming at him. Like,
I'm a psychopath! That's basically what you just did.
No, go ahead, cross the crosswalk. Don't cross the crosswalk. Like,
leisurely, please.
yes, I've never like had those bad.
I can't think of anything like that. Nothing comes to mind as me yelling at anyone.
It's so funny too because it must happen in groups because today, again, and this is what made me think of it is because this was last week. So this was only like 4 or 5 days ago. Gotta watch this. How big is the tank on that thing, by the way?
I think it's 14,000.
So that's not
look at the top. Like you have to
bigger.
unfold this like fucking satellite dish thing on the top.
Satellite dish.
Look at it. Like hold on, let me stop.
I'm gonna get the trailer.
And let me cut it off
and see if I can easily pull up next to you and like. Wait, is the pipe sticking out the back?
Yeah, but I don't. So hold on.
Can you hook a trailer directly up to it?
Oh shit, maybe.
I'm gonna bring the trailer up to you so you just have to back up and see if it lets it attach, because that would be nice. I don't know if it's got the same hitch or not. It looks like it has one of these hitches on it too. Here,
it does.
So back straight up.
Hold on, there was something I did.
Installed it out. Look at the tire treads on this thing, man.
Like there's something. It beeps whenever you back it up too, by the way.
No.
I don't know what I did. I guess maybe I can't do it whenever it's got stuff in. I think I can't do it. I can't turn it back off while it's got stuff in it.
Can you attach? Oh my god, you can. Can you dump straight into there as you're driving?
I don't.
Is the like the pipe out or?
Wait, left control 1, unload here.
Try to unload here. Left control 1?
Yeah, that's the control. It doesn't let me do that.
Is there a pipe out option or anything? Like, does this
there
arm have to
is,
swing?
but it's gonna fling that thing around.
It's annoying because it was set up right over top of it.
Yeah.
It literally set up over top of it. Well, that's annoying. Can you detach from this thing, and I'm gonna try to suck it up from next to you and go in your next pass and see how easily that works. At least the nice thing is what you can do is you can have it. That was the wrong detachment.
Yeah.
You can have that thing connected behind you when it fills up. Just stop, pull up next to it, dump it out, reattach, and go again.
Right.
So it saves you a little bit of.
Like I want to dump everything in there so you can see this. I want to fold it back up again. So grab. Well, here, let me move up. Let you grab that. Let me. When you're harvesting, it doesn't seem to be any faster. Oh, this is soybean. Shit, I thought this was canola. So we got canola, soybean.
And is there a straw swath thing? Because that granted we can't tell from this field.
Well, then there is. It definitely has a straw swath. Just doesn't have it with.
Go ahead and pipe out.
Like I said, tool selected. Yeah. I think you're. It's got a very long arm.
It's a very long pipe. It's probably meant to have the much bigger.
Yeah, it definitely is. We're gonna get that too.
No, I'm probably too far away, huh?
You are.
I'm gonna just swing all the way around, line this up better.
Just imagining this guy telling his family later.
Like,
This crazy person.
well, we're halfway missing, but I think it's actually going in. Okay, it must be empty, right?
All right.
It's such a long pipe.
How the fuck do I... There was a thing I did where you can, like, fold this whole bitch up. There we go. Look at that.
I wonder what the point of that is. Maybe it's just realistic because that's what it actually looked like or something?
It won't work until you do that either.
Well, because there's, I guess it wouldn't go in the, oh no, it doesn't really come in the top. Like, how does it get into, I don't know. That's weird.
You have to do that and lower it.
See, when you did that, the thing spits out the back end. So I don't understand. Yeah. Does it let you try to, oh, you don't have anything in there right now. Because I'm curious if I can just unload by being here and you just can't maybe do it when it's attached.
Right. Maybe we can get a bit in there and you can drive up and see.
Okay, keep going. I need to do a spin around. There you go. Oh. No option.
Mm-mm.
Okay, maybe we can't do it like that then. Oh well, it was worth a shot.
So it's not. It doesn't move any faster when you're actually using it.
Just the
but I guess the
driving.
difference is, normal driving is double speed. But I guess the point is you can have the giant header on it, which is double the size.
And it holds more. So now, because you said you were letting a worker try to do it, and he just stops when it's full.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's not really a big deal for the soybean and stuff. But I guess eventually we'll have bigger fields too.
Right.
But for the grain, it is a big deal. We were doing quite a few passes. So that'll make a big difference on the grains.
I'm going to get the planter set back up as well, so that we can start planting these fields right away. So today, I was driving home from work, and we come under, there's a couple bridges that I go underneath, like overpass type bridges that are like really long. They're actually like homeless tent city. It's kind of amazing and scary all at the same time, but it's literally like they got these really big sidewalks and it's just lined with tents because that's where people live. And lots of them. They actually cleaned them up a couple weeks ago. They like all of a sudden we drove down there and there was 0 tents there anymore, which is kind of sad. It's kind of sad.
Yeah, what happens to them?
I don't know. But the 2 days later, tents started to pop up again, and now it's all filled with tents again within a week. So
they take the tents from the people?
I don't know. They might have physically actually asked them to move and did some like work under there and then let them come back. Because I can't imagine, like, if you have homeless people that have like a somewhat of a shelter that's kind of out of the way, and I drive that all the time. They're not like disruptive or anything like that. It's not like it's like this dangerous place that people feel unsafe driving by. And people are walking up and down that same sidewalk all the time anyway. I can't imagine that they would be like, oh, by the way, we just don't like this. Get out of here and go live on some other street corner somewhere. So the fact that all the tents are back, I have to believe that they had done something that they just temporarily had him relocate or something like that. But either way, I was driving under this particular bridge, and same type of situation. There's a crosswalk, and there was people crossing the crosswalk, but this has like a 4-way stop, like a stop sign. Well, so this isn't me. I'm behind the person who's stopping for somebody to cross the crosswalk. Well, ironically, I have one of those cars that has automatic headlights. So right when I stopped, I am not kidding, my headlights flipped on because I stopped under the bridge. So I'm stopped behind this guy and my headlights flicked on right when he stopped to let a guy cross the street. And at the same time, I must have been like a delayed sensor because they almost immediately flipped back off again because the light was shining from the other side of the bridge. So it literally looked like I flashed my lights at this guy, pissed off that he stopped at a crosswalk. They didn't like do anything, But if somebody flashes their lights and you see it in your rear view, you're not necessarily going to do anything about it, but you're going to know that why that asshole just flashes lights at me, especially when I'm stopped for pedestrians in the crosswalk type of deal.
Maybe you are a psychopath. Maybe you are doing all these things and you just don't realize.
But but I couldn't physically have done that one. Like, that wasn't like my car does that. I didn't do that.
You can't turn on your own lights?
I can, but I have them set to the automatic position, so
Maybe
I don't.
You changed it.
I purposely changed it, like,
right, because you're a psychopath. You just don't realize it. You're like guy in Fight Club.
I mean, it's possible, I guess, but I think you'd have more credit for that story with the yelling one. Oh, we should have started with the other field. It's going to take a lot longer because I have to bail it.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do that one next. I didn't even think about that.
Oops, so this, I'm pulling up to the wrong side of it. But yeah, I just think it's kind of funny, like, twice in a week, I have these situations where I know that these other people are thinking I'm, like, this terrible asshole for doing something, like, nothing at all. At least not consciously. I actually used to get, when I first got my car with automatic headlights, I used to be really afraid because I didn't understand, like, when I would drive in a tunnel or a bridge or something like that and your headlights just randomly flip on, or even if it just starts to get dark and your headlights flip on, a lot of times people use their lights for, you know, communication of
right.
What's going on, that, you know, people are going to think I'm constantly, you know, trying to signal them for one reason or another. But at the same time, I'm so used to now seeing when we drive under bridges, instantly lights are turning on behind me, even when it's not one that warrants you have to turn your headlights on for. Because I know that most new cars have this feature.
Does yours have the automatic high beams as well?
No, it does not have those. And those
the Subaru, it's not very good, honestly.
So I worked for my last co-op job when I was in engineering school, was working for a company that was there was only 2 companies in competition at the time, but they were designing the automatic high beams. And I used to get a lot of overtime by going out there. We had a lot of people from, because one of the headquarters of the company was over in India, and they would send people over to get trained and do a lot of the R&D research. And then they'd go back to India after like a year stint in the US, but they weren't allowed to drive. So they'd have to have people driving them while they did all this tinkering and testing and marking how the lights responded in certain like situations. So I would just spend like 2 or 3 hours every night after it got dark driving these guys around to do this for overtime as a college student. It was really good, but they were terrible. I used to actually feel really bad driving because they'd be like, well, that car was blinded. Like, the lights didn't turn off appropriately for that car. So the high beams are just on the entire time driving down the street. And I'm just like, for science, you know?
Well, I can tell you that your research did not improve the Subaru that we have. The high beams are shit.
I think it's because they didn't pay me enough money. I'm pretty confident that that's it. They didn't pay me enough money, so therefore I could not drive adequately to perform their tasks.
Right. Was this in between driving around the prostitutes?
This is around the same time as that, actually. Yeah.
I guess they're not prostitutes. That's offensive.
Yeah, it was funny because I worked for this place because this place was supposed to hire me. I'm like aimlessly driving around. It's kind of funny. I was lining up things and driving a pickup truck around. But I worked for this company at the end of my co-op. They offered me a job like full time when I had graduated. And the day that I was supposed to start on the job, they told me, they were like, look, we just found out we got the new budget and we're not going to be able to hire you. And it was like the day I was supposed to start as full time. And I was like, okay. So this was literally, I was making $9.50 an hour as a co-op student, and I was supposed to get bumped up to $50,000 a year, like as a graduate engineer. And I was like, okay, that sucks, but what are you gonna do? Like, I'm not gonna argue with you. And they said, we can pay you until Friday, and then pretty much like we can't we can't have you anymore. And I was like, okay. So I went that night and got a part-time job back at the McDonald's I had worked at through high school and a lot of college. I was working there part-time just for extra money, and I asked them to make me full-time until I got something figured out. And about 6 months later, this company called me and said that they had a temp position they could offer me, that wasn't going to pay full engineering wages, but if I still didn't have a job, it'd be a good option if I wanted something to get more experience on the resume. And it was only paying like $15 an hour, so it wasn't much. So this was a time frame that I literally worked during the day as a full-fledged engineer making $15 an hour, which was really shitty. But I worked part-time at McDonald's at night, and then I would leave the McDonald's job and go drive these guys around from like 10 p.m. until midnight every night, and then I'd get up in the morning and start the whole process over again.
Wow, that's a lot of work.
A lot of work to make very little money in the long run.
I mean, just think you could have been putting 6 to 8 hours into farming.
I could have. I've been making hundreds of thousands of dollars buying tractors. Hold on, I'm gonna see what happens when I try to saw these sheep up. It does not let you do anything. Oh, no. Poor little sheeps. You know, I can get in their pen. Can you like bring stuff in their pen? Can I throw trees or something in the pen?
Why would you want to do that?
I don't know. Just because I can. I'm gonna go chop down a little tree. See what happens.
I wonder if this unloads faster.
I'm doubting it only because I'm surprised it harvests at the same speed. I can't do anything with this tree.
Yeah, I'm a little sad that it harvests at the same speed, honestly.
I like that tree. Well, none of these trees are all too beautiful to want to take down right now. I was trying to take down some of these little shrubs, and amazingly it doesn't let you take down the shrubs. You only can take down the massive oak trees that have been there for hundreds of years. I can take down the shed. Nope. Well, what are we at with our woolery here?
Probably still 30 since we're moving at 1 speed.
34%.
Oh wow, that's much faster than considering we're 1 speeding it. Because we were at 30 whenever we got done growing.
Oh, you know what's funny? I brought the pickup truck up here, and I just realized it was dirty. I was going to clean it up, and I can't because I don't have the tractor. I just have the pickup truck.
Yeah, I can't wait until we get the bigger head for this combine.
That was 64,000?
I think so.
We're obviously stuck in our loan situation because we maxed that out, right?
Yeah.
Uh-oh. There we go.
Whoa!
I was just saying hi. Doing my tricks.
Done.
Okay, so this one's got the straw swath on it, huh? There we go. So you've never had these situations on the road, though, where people
I'm trying to think of
you
one.
were
I really
an
am.
asshole.
I can't think of any situation where I was just like a psychopath. That everyone, yeah, no, I can't.
I mean, why you gotta spin the story like that? People thought I was a psychopath.
Right? Yeah.
I'm not actually a psychopath. It just looked that way. The guy on the bike probably truly thinks I'm a psychopath, though.
Yeah.
I'm sure
he went home and
really
told
does.
his family, "You'll never believe what happened today."
And I guess I didn't think about this. I wonder if the guy in the car behind me was like happy after that because he thought I was yelling at the guy on a bike.
Right? Like, yeah, fuck that guy.
Yeah, you tell that guy he shouldn't have crossed this crosswalk at where it was safe.
You got grass over here.
Yeah, I just realized I gotta cut some more. Kind of surprised that strip does not look that much bigger.
Let's not, because we have the same head.
Oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I think it's more uniform. I think it comes out wider, out the butt of this thing. It's got a wider butt, bigger anus.
Does wider butt mean bigger anus?
Well, that's why I specified, because you can have a big butt with a tiny little anus, but this one's got a big old anus.
I guess that would kind of... I'm trying to think if that would be better or worse. If you had a huge butt, would you rather have a small anus or a big anus? Like, what would cause your... Like, as a big butt, you're already going to have a problem wiping, right?
Yeah.
So what would actually, I don't know if either of those would help it flow better.
You ever in your medical days seen a prolapse, Thanos?
No. Definitely heard about a lot of them. I've seen, it's hard to say close to because I don't know if there's really a close to, but I've seen the prolapsed vaginas more or less.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that happened.
Yeah,
How's that happen?
that happens to me with a lot of old people. It definitely happens.
No.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not like, I guess the terminology, you think that it's just like completely sitting on the outside and like everything's dripping. Like it just kind of like drooped. And that's why I'm saying like it's like partial but not fully from what you'd read in a textbook. But yes, it can definitely happen to it.
Oh man, I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep, not a pretty thing. There's a lot of things in the medical
not.
field that are really not.
I don't
pretty.
think anything in the medical field's pretty. What's give me a pretty example.
Let's see. What is a beautiful thing in the medical field?
I mean, I guess the birth of a child, but it's even not. There's lots of blood. It's really gross.
Yeah, I guess the term pretty changes a little bit because sometimes, so when you learn about a lot of things in, I did all this mowing and didn't ever lower the mower, so it's
you just drove around.
I just drove around.
I could cut you.
Start this over again. I'm just giving that grass the heads up that this is coming. But so in the medical field, I guess a lot of things is you very rarely see something like perfectly textbook described. So, and from a medical profession standpoint, when I see something that presents like identical to what I would see in like a textbook example, that's almost like something that's beautiful in the medical sense.
Okay.
I mean, it's a different kind of beauty.
Right. I mean, I think that's like, I don't know, the eye of the beholder. Like, I mean, I think everyone likes little puppies, right? Like that's the example I want. What's your baby dog medical situation?
I've never had this question before posed in a way to try to think, because it's almost like making light of some type of one type of illness or the other. I guess sometimes the things are when somebody comes in for, and I'm giving an example that's not a legit example because it wasn't, something that actually happened to me, but if somebody comes in for like I guess I have seen these before. Dislocated shoulders come in, and then you give them the medications and the doctor does the procedure that pops them back into place, and you see like the instant sigh of relief on people's face. That's kind of like a beautiful thing to see everything go from terrible to pretty much like all better, because
I've heard that it's like instant, like you're instantly and no more, like you want to go from terrible pain to everything's fine. Is that really how it is?
For some of the things, yeah, for sure. Because
I'm talking about the shoulder, like the dislocated shoulder.
So I've seen a shoulder, and I've seen and these ones like kind of make me queasy in the stomach, but a dislocated patella.
What the hell's a
so
patella?
It's your kneecap.
Oh, okay.
And those are weird because they're like only held on by like cartilage and muscle. Like it's something that you would never really think about because you don't really learn about it too much in nursing school either. They don't talk about like the dislocated patellas and how easily that could happen, but it happens in a lot of sports injuries, and they'll be like down on the calf, and it's like apparently extremely painful, and then the doctors do these weird things and they give them medications to like relax the muscles, and they basically like pull it back up and like in a real fast motion, and a lot of times it'll pop back into place. And I've definitely seen the people getting it done like screaming in pain, for one, before you're even doing anything, but for two, when they're doing it for the couple seconds that they're doing it for, and then instant satisfaction and relief. So whether it's actually like all the pain goes away or the pain is just now so much less than it was when it was out of place, I don't know, but there's definitely, so those are like beautiful things in the medical field for sure. But it would be different than the beauty like a cute little puppy.
Right. Yeah. I don't think I couldn't work in a hospital or a doctor's office or.
You become
I mean,
really immune to it fast, because I'll tell you, when I was younger, and I mean younger as in even in my teens and stuff, when my dog would take a shit in the house and I had to clean it up, like the feeling it through the paper towel even kind of made me queasy. Exactly,
yeah.
exactly what you said. So I was like, how am I going to be a nurse that takes care of somebody's like a human feces coming out of their, themselves, and when they, people who are incontinent and things like that. How am I going to deal with that?
Like I've had to do that for my uncle and stuff, and even when my dad was real sick. And I mean, the only thing that got me through was the fact that I know I have to do this sort of thing, like because there's no one else that's going to. But even then, it was like, I mean, there were occasions where I came really close to puking on my uncle in the bathroom of a Golden Corral because there was shit everywhere, and it was too much. It was just too much.
Yeah, for me, that stuff, I've become so immune to that, like nothing like that bothers me anymore. I think the thing that bothers me the most sometimes is the smell of certain types of vomit.
Yeah, I can't stand the smell of vomit.
The worst smell, I will tell you, is the smell of GI bleed. Anybody who has an internal, like, abdominal bleeding that's like it's going through their body and coming out the other end, it smells like just I don't know how to describe it. It's a very distinct smell, and and the reason I think I have such a problem with it is I had this lady once. I was helping somebody take care of a patient with this in the emergency department, who basically simultaneously vomited and shit herself all over the place while having a severe GI bleed, and I could not get that smell out of my scrub. We both had to go get new scrubs from the OR, where they have special scrubs, because we were covered with this like shitty and vomity blood.
Oh man.
And I couldn't get the smell out of my like memory. I felt like it was hanging out under my nose for like a week. It was terrible.
Oh my god.
It was terrible. But one of the other things that I was also afraid of, well, so things like that I was afraid with, but I'm like immune to most of it. It turns out I don't know if it's just doing it or what, but cleaning up human feces never has bothered me. I don't know why. I think it's because I know that people are helpless and can't do it themselves, so I think about it in a completely different way. But I was worried about that going into the nursing profession, as well as I was worried about, like, okay, I'm going to be seeing, pretty females every so often, naked and in scrubs that are really thin and all that stuff. And that's never been an issue either, because it's just a whole different mindset.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I guess I could see that.
Only once have I ever even taken care of a patient, maybe once or twice, a patient that I even thought was somewhat attractive, because they were like just a young person. Like, one of them was somebody that I had actually worked with that was really sick and came into the emergency department, so she was an attractive girl anyway. And that one, I actually, being a male and a female that I worked with, I had anything that I was her nurse, but anything that had to do with having to do an EKG where I'd have to have her take her shirt off and everything, I went and got somebody else to do it, because I was just like, to make it more comfortable for you, I'm a colleague and I'm a male, we have females that can do this, let me go get somebody else, so it doesn't make like an uncomfortable situation.
I'm surprised that you never, that it only happened a few times.
Well, and the only other one that it happened, and it quote unquote happened to, like somebody who for some reason struck me as like, she's extremely attractive, like, in my patient. I don't know why, because there's pretty people that come in there a lot, but I guess your mindset's just not there. But this one chick who really struck me, and maybe I only remember it because she was like definitely had some crazy psych issues. From a perspective of, she had moved here to meet the guy that she was dating online, who like worked on Capitol Hill or something like that, worked for Congress or something weird like that. She'd only been here for like a week, and I guess had already been like cheated on him multiple times, and they had already had these big fights because he kept catching her at like other dudes' houses. And she was here to get like a psych workup because of like a suicidal attempt or something like that. And like
Jesus.
And he still came in there telling her how much he loved her, but just gleaning more of the story as you talked to both of them to find out the situation, what was going on. I was like, this is the weirdest thing in the world. But she was like really, really, really hot. So I think that's why I kept putting my mindset into, why is this dude putting up with this? Oh, I remember now. Like, type of deal.
Yeah.
But she was also really funny, but I think part of it was because I think she was like flirting with me the entire time as well. And that was part of the whole like obvious reason that they were having their own problems that they were having is because that was her standard demeanor, was to flirt with any guy to try to get her way on anything.
Yeah, like when I worked at Shoney's, I was real bad about like standing behind the buffet and talking to my coworkers about people that were currently getting food and how attractive they were.
But I think that's a completely different situation.
Well, no, I know it definitely is. I wasn't trying to compare the two. I was just thinking back on how insane it was that they could totally hear me.
Oh God! Same thing would happen in any fast food joint that I worked at. We would talk about, especially we were across the street from a high school, and I worked there when I was in high school. So we'd have a lot of the senior girls coming in there that we'd be talking about like very loudly behind the counter, and almost like a knowing that they could hear us to kind of see if it, would do it. And sometimes it did. Sometimes it'd come up and say something to you about it, and you'd end up being like at the movies with them the next night. Like,
nice.
It did happen occasionally. Not often, but occasionally.
I'm trying to connect this on the wrong side.
But I mean, you never ended up hooking up with any of the.
No, I didn't. Never.
I guess you were probably working there when you were already like in long-term relationship zone, right?
I mean, I was in high school. I mean, I was dating someone.
Okay.
But
you're not talking when you were like 18, 19
no,
years old.
No,
I
was
still
like
it was younger than that. Okay. That's a little bit harder as a 15-year-old to try to be picking up the chicks working there, or the chicks that eat in there. I guess I don't know what kind of crowd goes into.
I remember telling this one guy's dad, or one guy's dad, this one girl's dad, I was like, your daughter sure is hot.
What'd he say?
He just kind of looked at me like I was a psychopath. Kind of like you yelling at crosswalk people.
Maybe crosswalk guy was your dad. I definitely would have old ladies in drive-thru. Sometimes they'd come through and be like, "You're such a nice young man. I'm gonna tell my granddaughter about you." That happened more than you would like realize. None of the granddaughters ever came back in and said, "My grandmother told me to come see this nice young man."
My drive-thru story is when I used to smoke pot. Anytime I was out of pot and in a place that I didn't know where to get it, I would just go to Taco Bell and ask the drive-thru guy, and it worked 100% of the time.
I can buy that. Would he tell you where to go 100% of the time, or he would sell
100% of the time? I got it from Taco Bell guy. There was only one occasion where I had to come back the next day, but
did the people tell you that though?
What do you mean?
Why is this barrel? Where's this grass barrel going?
Yeah. The guy was basically like, "Come back tomorrow, man." I go, "Man." The best part about that always was 100% of the time, like next time I saw them, I would always get lots of free Taco Bell as well. I don't know if that's a positive, but
that's interesting that they would give you free Taco Bell. I don't know. Does that keep you coming back? Is that how they keep their business as a drug dealer? Is by giving away the actual businesses?
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's the funny thing too, is I pull up the drive and I'd be like, "Hey, it's Jason." He's like, "Oh man, pull around." He gave me like a whole bag of like tacos and shit. Like I wouldn't even order it; just hand me a bunch of shit, and in that like would be also the pot, and I'd just give him the money. Like it basically looked like I was buying food, but
there was no. Well, there was food, but that was not what the
right.
transaction was really about. I guess you could use that as an interesting cover of you get like charged with selling drugs, and you'd be like, no, I was selling food. I was giving away drugs. Because
I didn't even know the drugs were there.
Yeah, it'd be a different charge. Like, didn't a couple of years ago, Chicago as a city, if I recall, outlawed the ability to sell fagua? And
really?
I'm not 100% certain why, if it had to do with like animal rights activists or what. But what happened is all of a sudden restaurants started having like purchase an order of bread that comes with free foie gras for $45 because they were selling one thing and you were getting free foie gras, which is working
Right.
around the whole you're not allowed to sell it. Because I remember reading this news article about basically thinking like, oh, these people are geniuses. Like, if you told me I couldn't sell this stuff, I would think you couldn't physically have it at your restaurant anymore. And they were like, well, we're not selling it, technically.
Right. It just happens to be here.
It just happens to be, it's free if you purchase this other item that happens to just have a 3 million times markup right now.
Well, we're not way out of time, but we farmed for 40 whole minutes here.
Well, we did. All right, guys, we'll get some more farming done.
Bye.
See ya.